Go. Am I live? Am I live? Am I live? There we go. Hey, there we go. My apologies. Had a few problems there. Just make sure all audio straight. Everyone good and sound. Should be. So today's stream. Let's see if anyone turns up. But basically, today's stream is about substitution jutsus. Now, there's a lot of overpowered builds in this game. The jutsus are strong, keep getting strong jutsus, but in total, there's only 19 substitutions. Now, the interesting thing is, a lot of the new ones have been added are great, but I do feel that a lot of the last ones are kind of lost. So, within this, I decided to make a tier list for the skill gap difference that you can use of the jutsu. Now, what I mean by this, for example, you have time space up. Blessings, Black Star, Baron, how are you, bro? Nice to pass by. So you can say like time space hop. Time space hop is going to be left like. Thank you, bro. Appreciate it a lot. Appreciate it a lot. So time space, it's one of those jutsus that will easily carry a new player. However, in some circumstances, it can be countered, negated, or just forgotten about. So I'm not saying it's the best. I'm not saying it's the worst. But there's a lot of things that could be used differently to say that there are more higher tiered play people. Thank you, man. Thank you. Thank you. Who else we got in here? So I was just running through the introduction more than anything to the stream, so people can catch up. We're gonna go through this tier list, make this straight. Who we got in here? We got 3 people. Thank you all for pulling up. Yeah, y'all guys, the real ones. Y'all here, bro. Put a post out. So I think I'll more or less start this. I'm gonna go for this in order. Throughout this tier list, you're going to see some adjustments to these as I'm working the way through, because I did not pre-plan this. I pre-planned the stream, but I didn't pre-plan where they're going or so forth. I do have my own favorites, yes, but I'm not going for favorites. I'm going for what works well and what is effective. We have S, which is the most OP tier, and we have the one that is literally that you can't see here. Color's bad because it means don't use. Honestly, I don't think there's not a substitution you shouldn't use. It's just knowing how to use it. But we're gonna start off with Bird Clone. So the interesting thing about Bird Clone is that it has the shortest time to activate out of all the clones. So what I mean by this, when you substitute, this clone will trigger faster than any of the others. On top of it, it has a very unique feature where it has ability to have 3 types of effects. So number 1, it can reduce the attack. Number 2, it can reduce the defense. Or number 3, it can do both. Well, 4, it can do neither. It's just damaging. But there's a 33% chance of all the status elements happening, of attack happening individually, the defense, and the 2 combined together. So it's a very strong clone. I'll actually put this at A tier. Next up, we have the Clay Clone. Oh, if you guys do disagree with anything I say, feel free to write down, let me know. We can discuss this. Clay Clone. This one recently got a bigger brother. Well, it was only last season, Itachi. But we get this clone from Deidara. Now, what I like about this clone, it only has a 30-second cooldown and it has a good form of damage and explosion radius. So a lot of these clones may cast and activate, but if you're fighting something like a Susanoo armor, this is going to allow you to catch them out of take them out of it with a bit more range without having to sacrifice a larger explosion range. Does that make sense? I hope it does. Yeah, the subs can do some crazy stuff. There's some really, really crazy stuff. So Clay Clone is a great one. It's got medium tier damage, usefulness, having what I don't like about it is that it's knockback. Now, it's explosion, yeah, it knocks back. However, controlling the direction where your opponent will be knocked back isn't in control by yourself due to it don't move, it's stationary. So within this, I'm actually going to put it at a B tier. Next up, Ice Clone. Now, this is one of the most underrated clones you probably can get. What it does is it reduces the cooldown of your opponent's ninjutsu. So it doesn't take away their stock, but if they've already used a ninjutsu, if they get trapped in it, it's going to take longer for it to recover. Now, where this actually works very well, is kind of ironic, is against things like Hard Light, Demon Hunter. Demon Hunter really is why it's funny, because it's that Zabuza Haku crossover. So if they pop their Demon Hunter, you substitute, hold them there for that split second, this is going to allow you to freeze them, take them out of their super armor, but also delay the time that their Demon Hunter comes back. And this is where I think it was a very useful tool for me to understand it when I was learning through the range type class, that allowed me to take advantage over the other people. Oh yeah, this stream is based on skill ceiling, not as so much of how much it can carry. So yeah, the ice is great. The skill ceiling of it is average. You can force it. It's got a nice crack area, but the reduction of cooldown is not really a additional feature that's necessary in the game. So for this, I'm also going to put this one at lower B tier, around the same as Clone, but not much. So next we have Emergency Exit. This was given to us by Kawaki. Now, this substitution was the most unique substitution out of all of them. Things give debuffs to them, things give us speed ups, we're aware of this, but Emergency Exit actually allowed us to heal. Also, alongside, it removes status ailments. Now, personally, this is a ranger's best friend. We're not able to heal. We can't heal unless you got the Medimist spray or you're going to be using pills. However, the greatest tool on the best thing on ranges Ascend, never mind the Jutsu Exit, is going to allow you to be able to carry on your fight and heal as we go along. So really, where do I rank it? Well, really truly, you can get hit by a Water Shark Bomb substitution. You can get hit by a Sinsin Seju substitution. You can get hit by, what else is cool? Shikadami Storm. You can substitute out of it and remove the elements. This is going to be our first S tier substitution. Without fail. It is incredibly carrying. You can run a normal build and put this on and survive for days. Literally survive. With it, survivability is one of the key things of being able to carry a team. So it's definitely S tier. Shadow Clone Explosion is the next one. We know this one. This one by Reanimated Itachi. Now, Reanimated Itachi was a great DLC. Bought us Yasuke beads of Tsukiyomi. But this Shadow Clone Explosion was great. It was the first moving clone. The clone literally walks towards you, explodes, huge radius. Now, what I like about it is that it breaks water pillar very easily. Gets Susanoo on, it chases after him, and people with bad movement struggle to get away from it. However, what I do find is that it's quite easy to get away from, as long as you don't do a spin circle around the bottom as we've all seen people do before. You'll be able to backflip out. They've already substituted, so they're behind you. So what I recommend this, I'm not too sure if you guys pay attention to the full length of my videos, is you switch to green cursor tracking and then charge after your opponent. So this will allow you to get out of the radius and also use a dash animation to increase your speed faster than jumping. This way you're going to be able to stun, pick them off guard because they're not going to expect it. They haven't got Swift Step on. It's a normal thing. They've got to turn their camera to. Shadow Explosion don't work like others. So it's great, but it has evasion. It's far superior to Clay Clone. Okay, yes. So we're going to do a little change up. So we're going to put Shadow Clone Explosion at the top. Actually, we're going to put it on A. Now, the reason why A is because of the infinite substitution build. The infinite substitution build allows you to continually sub, and having things like infinite subs and be able to produce such high amounts of damage, especially under Koto Matsukami. You can literally squad wipe by just choosing to get hit and substitute and leave a deploy. It's quite I really do love it. It's really cool. It's really cool. What do you guys think about this Shadow Clone explosion? How do you guys feel about it? I'm not changing where it goes, but what do y'all think? Garbage. uh, okay. It's not garbage. It's yeah. It's one of those. It can be very overwhelming. The skill ceiling is interesting because it's got a 40-second delay, so you need to be able to use it accordingly. But it is a really great, not S tier, great, but it's good. High speed movement. Hey, we all know this one, yeah? This one's been in the game from the very start. What did it do? Before it used to be that bad, you'd be able to literally track it with your eyes. Like, you'd see him go across the screen and it's like, you can't see me. However, now it is actually a very, very good sub. What it does is increase movement speed. Movement speed is something that people aren't quite aware of because they changed action speed. But the difference is between these two. The best way I can put it, you're not gonna have unnecessary extra animations. It's not charging. Yes, you move around, you jump higher, so forth and whatnot, but it's not overused and overbearing. It's a very similar equivalent to Swift Step. So we're gonna talk about these two together actually. So Swift Step allows you to do charging animations. So as a healer, and you've got the normal ninja sword. So if you need to get across to the map absolutely fast as possible, what you want to do is literally switch to your green cursor tracking. You hear me say it again. I might have to do a video on this. Chase after them. So you just press square and you'll zip to the target destination of what you're locked onto from a far distance because you have tracking capabilities. However, high speed movement won't do that. It will just allow you to move fast. So I recommend Swift Step on things like defense, hand to hand, the attack types. What's the other one called? The backhanded explosion for healers. Having those short jab animations allowing to get yourself quick. Use Swift Step. Yeah. This being said, where Swift Step goes, Swift Step is absolutely A tier. A tier. Clay clone, Berkeley, yep, clone, A tier. There we go. That's about right. There we go. A tier. It's absolutely amazing. This can be used on every single class, especially range types. Do not use it with Kusanagi. Your Kusanagi option would be high speed movement, and this can go well with your defense types. However, this is only B rank category because it doesn't have the killing capability and the pressure that Swift Step has. If that makes sense. And it's better than those two, definitely, most definitely. Okay, so next up. This is Ink Clone. The ink's the wrong color. I don't know who made this. It must be kind of dumb. Picked the wrong thing, but anyway. So, Ink Clone. So, a big thing about ninjas that people don't realize is that one of their biggest skills in real life was art of deception, concealing the movements, and staying hidden. Now, I know a lot of people, not we all, because I don't, a lot of people abuse the lock-on feature. So when they get stuck behind walls or so forth and whatnot, it's a struggle for them to see you. So breaking lines of sight is a very clean thing. It's really good to do. So if you can do that, it will allow you to take advantage over your opponent. But this ink here, it doesn't last long enough. It does do a small fraction of damage, but it's not enough. You still can see around the screen, you can work around it, your extra senses. Any good shinobi really and truly will be able to work around it. It is a nuisance against, yeah, it is a nuisance, but yeah, no, it ain't there. Okay, so next up, Lightning Clone by Kakashi Hatake. Now, this is the early OG. So before there was DLC, Well, the DLC came at the same time. Super armor will always be a problem, especially against defense types. But Lightning Clone was the first non-DLC clone that breaks super armor that you would attain easily. Because Kakashi's one of the first people you get. But it's great because it also reduces attack damage. Now, to say that it's stopping things, reducing the attack damage, and let's be fair, if you take damage, you want it to be less as possible. You shouldn't be as a good player, but it needs to be as low as possible. So with this, I'm gonna rank this at a high B tier. Great, it's got its uses, but nah. Bad thing about it, there's no actual con to it, but there's other things that are out there that is far better. Multi-shadow clone jutsu. Oh, I remember when this came out. It was quite interesting. Everyone thought it was gonna be broken. It was a great thing. People put on their infinite substitution builds they've been running, and you'd realize that people would use them and literally waste the first one and struggle to recover the second. Now, this is a skill-based tier list. We're not talking about the breadsticks. Now, in regards to this, it's had its changes across the board. You may not have noticed it, but using it offensively, it will allow you to disguise your movements while you're fighting. As the clones push, you can push with it. The trade-off is the clones can die from one projectile each. Like, you can literally throw one send on it, it will pierce all of them and they'll poof away. On the contrary, having two substitutions that you can manage that you're not wasting while blocking capabilities being very good is something to be scared of. Because really and truly, if they're saving it for the last moment and they're controlling the pace of the battle with two substitutions, they're going to have something planned behind their sleeves because they're trying to evade and they're not running an infinite substitution build. They're carrying a damage-based build because they know how to prioritize these two together. But we have to speak of it independently. So if you're using a 1v1 and someone had double subs, would they win the fight? More than likely not. Once the both subs are gone, it will be a struggle for them to bring it back up. But it will also interject some nice different styles of gameplay. But in this, I'm going to put this at a B tier. No, it's not as good as Lightning. Lightning goes above that. Okay, Paper Clone. So this is what I call a sometime-ish clone. What do I mean by that? Well, the clone don't wrap you up like Shikigami, which would be really cool. However, it sometimes seals your substitutions. And I told you that like the percentages on the bird clone. You wanna know what the percentage on the paper clone has a 25% chance of sealing your substitution. Or it just does the little base damage. Bruh. It's garbage. It's good, but really and truly, you're depending on RNG and chance, and any good player won't want to depend on chance. That's like relying on your randoms in solo queue. So we're going to go for D tier. Next up, Sand Clone. So y'all see me use Sand Clone very, very often in my videos. I'm guessing you're probably wondering why. When playing with people have a tender habit to, how can I put it, try and steal my kills or jump in and think they can put their 1-2 kicks and punches and try and carry this on. Like, no. Sand Clone allows, sand is magnet style, so don't get confused. So this is the reason why it works well, and I'll explain why it's magnet style. Only your chakra nature will be able to damage the person inside the sand. So it'll be there. If you cast an ninjutsu, it'll do damage. If your teammate does cast an ninjutsu, it don't do no damage. Well, it does do ninjutsu, sorry. If they try to punch your opponent, it don't do no damage. It won't do nothing. Even down to myself, I use my weapon, no. Only chakra-based attacks will allow you to damage somebody inside the Sand Clone. So this is where often you'll see me wait for a moment. People may say it's toxic, but you don't waste energy. Hitting air or something you can't hit. No attack will land while it's in sand. The other great thing is if you're using this on somewhere like the clouds, because it's got the weighted thing, it will pitfall someone if they are hovering. So the sand will there and it will drop them. There's no way they can come out because they're trapped by your boundaries to the side. Sandclone is easily one of the top clones in this game. Very underused. Very, very underused. But as an elemental clone, is it A tier or is it S tier? I'm putting it as an A tier. A tier. Is it as good as Burclone? Is it anywhere near as close as Burclone? No. We're gonna move these down a little bit. We're gonna do this. We're gonna stay. We're gonna do that. Yeah, that seems a bit more right. Yes, that seems good. That seems good. So we have emergency exit in the first place at the moment. We've got swift step, sand clone, shadow clone explosion. So understand, if they're anywhere here, they're decent, they're good, they work really well, if that makes sense. These still work. It's gonna be more of a niche. You're trying to make something look good. Bird clone again, it's really great. It's really great. It's got that fast casting time. It can't not be an AT, you know. So nah, it's top B tier, 100% top B tier. Okay, shadow clone. So I'm gonna sound like an old man. Back in the day, everybody was using elemental clones. There was none of this swift step, none of this emergency exit malarkey, and this high speed movement. But like I said, it was trash. You could literally watch it crush your eye. Now, having a 25-second cooldown is great. Really great. Because I'm not too sure if you guys are aware, the way ninjutsu, well, your substitution comes back is by how much damage you deal, also by how much damage you take. So both of these factors are contributors towards how fast your clone comes back. So as much as throughout the whole of this I've been saying it's been 30 seconds, 40 seconds, that's by you just standing there alone with no interruption. Not including you dealing damage or even taking damage. Now, to be able to manage this is really cool, and having it back then, it was good. However, now, not many people expecting clones, but I'm sure every person now knows and understands what is a real body and not. Well, that's cap, because as I explained, a lot of the players are trash in this community in my last video. Anyway, so the way you know how if it's a clone or a real person, their name will disappear above and top of their head. So as you fight them so forth, you'll see their name, red, the bar, whatnot. As soon as they substitute, that disappears. It's gone. It's no longer there. It's just a body. So unless you're being very tunnel vision, like, you can see it. Now, within this, to say that the clone has no additional things, there's no point. It's really not there. It's really not there. It's probably going to be a very low tier. I like the cooldown. It's low cooldown. But the use of it, you might as well use those extra 5 seconds for an elemental clone. Seriously. Literally use the 5 seconds for something else. Next up, Snake Clone. By the zesty guy himself, the Orochimaru. Him, you know who I'm talking about, Orochimaru? I'm a snake. Okay, so in anime, yo, this guy is powerful, bruh. I can't wait to see more of this guy in Boruto. All I know, yeah, when I saw him when he was with Victor and went, Futon. So is this body just, this guy's as smart as a model, so forth. However, in Shinobi Striker, I hate to say this. I don't like saying things are bad in this game, but Orochimaru trash, bro. He is the worst DLC in the whole of the game. Like, striking snakes. It apparently does poison and reduces your health. However, the poison damage isn't enough to actually do damage over time. It's literally useless. Yeah, it stops the healing, but like, it can be interrupted, unlike Ripple and Snake Thrust. They are literally super armor based. I don't understand why it doesn't have super armor. Then you've got Wind Breach. Okay, yeah, that's kind of cool. It blows people far across the map. It's one of the only wind style moves we had in the game before Tamari. However, it was kind of weak. It didn't do the damage that you'd expect from, you know, a legendary Sanin. It was more like, you know, bit beginning level, you feel me? Like, then after you got Ido Tensei. Now, that's actually a very decent ninjutsu or ultimate. The skill ceiling on it is crazy high. However, the thing I don't like about it can generally just be absorbed by strange taste, Karma Linchpin. Sorry, if you can be absorbed by when that happened, right, it was horrible. It's horrible. And after I got the karma back destruction, it was horrible. PTSD moment. But anyway, yeah. But then you got this poison clone that it does actually do some poison damage, but it don't do reduction. But the poison's still not potent enough. They need to buff the poison damage to the same amount as the salamander. You know Larry, my salamander? He's got the most damaging DPS damage over time in this game. Like, it's more than Amaterasu flames, it's more than majestic flames. It's literally, yeah, it's really strong. It's probably equal to Dragon Flame Bomb by defense. That's the next one that's got a high damage over time. But between those two, like, yeah, but this, am I really gonna put? Yeah, I said I wouldn't do it. I said I wouldn't do it. Is the damage over time? Yes, I'm putting this here. Okay, so don't use this. Don't use this. Don't use this. The skill ceiling is so meager. It's unreal, unreal. The reason why I say this, a lot of the clones will be able to kill or set you up for you to be able to do something after. This clone is countered by this clone. That's the craziest thing. Don't get rid of the same with this. This is countered by this. Like, this can't counter these. It can't counter it. It can counter this. If that makes sense. You can just substitute out and then off you go. This in a 1v1 will get you killed. Especially if it's the last minute situation. You're surviving on your last clone. What? You want to try and poison them, so you have to survive them. Hopefully they die over time. No. Don't use that. Don't use that. Don't use that. Really, don't. It's the word. Bruh, how is Rashomara? We need a new Rashomara DLC. We can have some Reshiram in here. We can have some more funny jutsu. Like, you put him as a healer, a healer based Rashomara would be really cool. Really cool. Okay, next up, Stone Clone. Anyone in the chat know what Stone Clone does? No, I don't see people use it. I don't see people use it. It's a great clone. It really is a great clone. It's more. I'll put in more of a use this when it's needed as such. So what I mean by this, to have a perfect build, I don't give a damn what any of these YouTubers tell you. A lot of their builds are trash and they can't play the game anyway. But the Stone Clone, you know, a build has to have a mandatory requirement of a breaker. Now, what I mean by breaker, this is something that can break something of your opponent. A level 3 breaker is something that can break like Water Pillar, True Seeking Orbs, those high level damaging things. Level 2 could be like a little bit more less. No, we're not putting True Seeking. Yeah, True Seeking Orbs and Susanna. They're level 3s. Your level 2s is more like Domed Wall, basic petrifying jutsu, these sort of things. But a level 1 breaker, the minimum requirement you need to be able to break is a guard. If you run Lariat and Chidori trying to be this lightning ninja, you're going to be throwing both ninjutsus against the skill player. They're going to look at you and block. See, your build is countered by a block. Now, if you have a Stone Clone alongside with it, as your Stone Clones will do, what this does, it reduces their guard break meter. So the next attack they take, the guard's going to break. Now you have the upper hand. So it's a game changer. It's a breaker build. It's a breaker style thing, if that makes sense. How good is it in the 1v1? Absolutely incredible. In a team-based situation, it's very subjective. Like, if we're talking individual thing, like, does it break Water Pillar? No. Is someone going to be standing there blocking? No. In a base battle? Oh, yes. It will come into very uses. I'm going to put this as a good C tier. A good C tier. Okay. Next up, we have substitution jutsus. Anyone disagreeing with this tier list? Like, y'all feeling me? You're feeling me? Understanding these? Good enough explanations? Like this up. Got 4 left. Yeah, this went through a little bit quicker than I expected. I didn't want it to be a long stream because I want people to be able to come back and watch this and understand the reasons why I put these in the places rather than me spending hours on it. Okay, so substitution jutsu. Bruh, Sasuke can't be it. You know how many times he got hit by a log in the first parts of Naruto? Hey, yo, it wasn't me, I swear, guys. I swear it wasn't me. But yeah, substitution log. Now, this has a 20-second cooldown paired with things like, what's it called? Oh my gosh. Not armed and dangerous. What's the skill called? Breath of something. I know what I'm talking about. So it reduces your substitution cooldown. And it actually reduces your substitution cooldown by 25%. So this is going to push your cooldown all the way down to 15 seconds combined with dealing damage and taking substitution. Listen to me. You can run this and prioritize your things perfectly. And they're going to think you're modding. People don't use this. They don't use it. It's a great ninjutsu. Don't get me wrong, it leaves nothing behind. You get no boosts, no perks. But the time of the cooldown you get compared to anything else, be able to go all the way down to 15 seconds is incredible. Say, for example, let's throw it out there. Run Crimson Drizzle. Crimson Drizzle is the best ninjutsu in the whole of the game. It beats Reverse Scale, Hazard Strike, Majestic. It beats everything. Literally incredible. And it has an 8-second cooldown. What's good, Kilram? Why ain't Swiss stepping S tier? Okay. So the problem with Swift Step being an S tier is that it forces linear-based forms of movement. Now, even myself, who has decent movement, when under Swift Step, you are prone to make mistakes in your evasion when charging opponents. Now, there are stuff in the game that will literally one-shot you if you charge at them, and it's most commonly used on attack types. It's great, but at the same time, it can cause huge harm. It's got high risk and high cons. Like, we're trying to get that balance out. It's great, but it's not emergency exit S tier. Nowhere near. It's good because it's close to. This is also just as good as Swift Step, and both of them aren't supposed to be there. They're good, but it's not there, if that makes sense. But like I was saying, this normal substitution, like, to be able to reduce this down to 15 seconds alongside, say, Crimson Drizzle with an 8-second cooldown. So you're locking substituting every 15 seconds. You can block with Indestructible and, I don't know, run Chakra Scalpel. So now you're completely shutting down, substituting every second. Looks like you're using Koto. The normal clone, the normal substitution is amazing. Easy A tier, not S tier. Whoa, no, S tier. Skill ceiling is insane. Because I'll say this now: when you choose to sub and when you choose not to sub, as much as your substitutions there, so forth, you get them. Nah. It's going A tier, not S tier, A tier, A tier, A tier, A tier, A tier, A tier. It's good. It's really good. Try it out. Give it a go. Time space hop. Okay. At the moment, the Shinobi Striker community hates time space hop. The amount of posts I see, the amount of complaints I hear on streams, in videos. It got nerfed in the last patch. It reduced its cooldown, so you can't run, say, for instance, Sharingan and time space up and stand there and charge and get it back in time. You're gonna still be under fire. But several times I fight people with time space up and it's ignored. Now, the best way I can put it is time space is a defensive ninjutsu that will keep you safe. However, while you're inside this state, you cannot attack. And if you open up to attack and you start getting hit, you can get hit while you're charging, if that makes sense. And if they know how to string something together, you're going to be taking damage while your time space is active and not cooling down. Also can be countered by many moves like Rinnegan and so forth, shut down by sublock moves before prior hand. Like, it's good, but it's not that good. Unless they've got a breaker based move, like something that's gonna break, like chart something like let's think of something that's reverse scale, if that makes sense, then it won't work as such. It's not gonna be there. It's good, but it's not top tier. I'd say it's just below normal substitution. I'd literally say run normal substitution over time space. As much as it gives you cooldown, you can run 1 in a million, if that makes sense, like to do that or something else to get cooldown on your kill and keep yourself more consistently fighting with the normal clone, with the normal substitution jutsu. Next up, water clone. Anyone in the chat know what a water clone does? So, in this game, there's, how can I put it? You start at 0 and you can go to -2 and to +2. So this is your debuff and nerf scale. So you can nerf their attack or you can buff your own attack. Now, things like, I think from the top of my head, what else? What's going to give you a boost of attack? Red pill. The red pill, I don't use it. You know what I'm talking about. That'll give you a +2 attack boost. However, after you have things like Amaterasu now as a damaging move that will do a -2 defense boost. Or you have Inferno Style Flame Control Flame that does a -1 defense boost. So the defense, decreased. Like, so that defense, that taking that defense is a very huge factor. It can literally go from it dropping and you killing. You can literally run Amaterasu, press square, triangle, circle, so you exhaust their hit counter, then charge into square, triangle, and they will die. That's only what seven attacks landed after a 2-stage debuff. And water clone is the only clone that pushes into 2-stage categories. Now I'm gonna let you guys into a secret technique of mine. I call this technique Koto Amatsukami Raining Men. Now, when you have a 4-stack all running water clones, you literally force yourself into your opponent's trap. And your idea is to apply the water damage. From there, you can clean up instantly. It's an ultimate technique on its own. It's really like, woo, powerful, really powerful. Where I put it? Water clone, even, okay, so the factor of how clones work. So how to use a clone is by principle a sen no sen, and go no sen. These are Japanese terminologies. So to attack at the same time being attacked. So you can substitute on contact. To substitute after your opponent steps, go no sen. So once your opponent's hit, there's a delay animation. Now you have up to exactly 4 seconds to be able to substitute. Well, it's 3.5 seconds to be able to substitute after you've taken damage. This could be including from wall animations dropping to the floor or just standing up. That's the time that you have to delay your substitution. And the final one is to substitute before your opponent has attacked. Now, this is the interesting one. So when somebody starts the combo, hold yourself for half the combo. Let them feel like they've got you down. Then substitute. Now, this is going to lock them into their later stages of moves. And later stage of moves have less cancelable frames because they start going into multi-strikes. And unless they're really conscious, it's not going to work. But once you substitute, throw anything at them. Now, this is now you attacking before they have attacked and also attacking before they've attacked your clone. This is the ultimate sen no sen. Now, this will force your clones to land every single time. It's literally textbook perfect. Don't get me wrong, there's ways around it, but this is what you want to use for your textbook perfect things. And when we move inside this, we're gonna put watercolor as our second S tier. Second S tier. It's there. It's these water clone is your elemental clone of use. After you have this one as your normal body clones. Go through literally there. And finally, wood clone. Wood clone is it reduces movement speed. Movement speed applicability is mid now. It's not what it used to be. Now that you have charging speed, things applied and so forth and whatnot, it's really gonna do what it is. What's good, Blaze? What's good, Blaze? You're late, bro. I'm about to finish up on my last one. But yeah, wood clone really isn't as valid as it was or it needed to be. It's kind of, as much as wood style was made by Hashirama, this don't give that Hashirama style feat. Like Pokemon, I ain't made a thumbnail, you know, bro. I ain't made a thumbnail. I want after that still. Might do still, I don't know. Well, I will be. Bear with me. But yeah, wood clone. It's not don't use, because say if someone's trying to run away with a flag, it'll make a flag drop. It'll slow the person down. But it doesn't mean it's great. Yeah, water clone's the best, bro. Water clone's the best, no cap. But wood clone, D tier, D tier, yeah, D tier, D tier, D tier, D tier, D tier, D tier. So yeah, nothing that can be countered by emergency exit minus bird clone will go above C tier. No way. If you could cure it from status elements, so you got things like emergency exit, youthful rule, cellular extraction, hidden the ash, you got all of these moves that actually remove status elements. No way these can be valid. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're good. This one as well. I believe this one should deserve a higher spot, but there's no C. I can't make new letters. It don't work that way. Don't work that way. But it is, yeah, it's up there. It's up there. Yeah. But yes, that will conclude the stream for today. I do appreciate everyone that's come through. I do want to keep this short. I don't want to drag it on, so people can actually rewatch this later in the future. If it did help you out, be sure to hit a like and subscribe. And yeah, my YouTube schedule is going to be a bit, yeah, interesting. You see me streaming Pokemon. Let me know if you want to see me stream some Overwatch 2. And just watch some Shinobi Striker videos. Yeah, just grinding. Yeah, make sure I'll see you in the comment section. But I'll see y'all soon. Yeah. Thank you again. Thank you very much. End stream.